Howdy, Legendary Void here, and today I have a deck tech. It's more or less a flash from the past, a little bit, but we're going to be talking about two characters that I am really fond of, Raider Runabout and Raider Runamuck. Now these characters, of course we're going to be using the gold foil ones. These characters are really fun, and their abilities perfectly work off of each other, because whenever Runabout flips, you get to repair 1 damage from him, and then if you have Run Amok, you repair 1 damage from him as well, and then you flip him to his alt mode. And then when you flip Run Amok to his bot mode, you get to draw a card, and then he flips. So this deck is all about flipping and triggering different kinds of abilities, as well as also playing Dead End just as a 5-star cost, as these are both 10 cost cars. So of course we're going to round it out to 20 and do some car shenanigans. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the deck tech. So before I get into the actions, I'm going to go ahead and mention this deck is going to be blue-black, so we're going to be trying to focus on Pierce as much as we can, since they don't exactly have the highest attacks in the world, being 4 and 5. We're going to try and do as much damage as we can through Pierce. So starting off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Starter Engine, since we are playing all 3 cars, and it is a blue pip, so it helps with that. You get to flip all of them to alt mode and untap one of them. And of course we're going to be using the awesome Energon Edition artwork for that one, but it's always going to be good having more attacks on your opponent's characters, and cars are especially proficient in that. We're also going to be playing 2 copies of Heavy Handed, since 10 stars is a decent size, and there are plenty of characters that are less stars than 10, you're going to be trying to get that Pierce 4 on as many of them as possible. But we are also playing 2 copies of the bigger they are, so you can do the opposite. Since there are plenty of characters that are more than 10 stars, getting that +2 Pierce 4 is especially nice, even if you need to swing in with Dead End and deal some damage. Next up, we're playing 3 copies of Designated Target. Now this is a double black pip card that says each of your characters get pierced 2 until the end of turn. Now the reason we're playing this one is because we're playing Starter Engines. Since you're going to keep on tapping, theoretically of course, and you're going to have potentially more attacks than your opponent does. If you have more than 1 character untapped by the time all your opponent's characters are all tapped, Designated Target will give them at least pierce 2, making that card definitely worth it for whenever those situations pop up. And of course, since it is a blue deck, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Security Checkpoint. Getting rid of all the upgrades from your opponent's hand is especially nice, and since we're not playing too many upgrades in this deck, it's nice to play whenever you see the chance. Next up, we're playing 3 copies of Hit and Run. Now, this is a white black pip card that says you can flip one of your characters from bot mode to alt mode. Of course, that'll trigger one of their abilities by flipping them, and then you get to move 1 damage from it to an enemy in alt mode. Now this is especially nice, obviously getting to heal your characters 1, but also dealing 1 to your opponent, as well as letting you flip one of your characters for the turn, and then flipping another one. There's a lot of flipping, very complicated, not really, but it's really fun, especially playing gimmicky cards like Hit and Run. And the last action we're playing is going to be 3 copies of Camion Crash. It says deal 1 damage to one of your characters, as well as do 2 damage to an enemy. Now since Runabout, since he heals from your characters, repair 1 from this and then 1 from Run Amok, you can just immediately heal that damage that you're dealing to one of them off, assuming they're undamaged of course, and then 2 damage to your opponent is definitely nothing to scoff at, especially since it's a black pip card, so it's helping there. So as for secret actions, we're playing 3 copies of Concealing Contrails. Now this says whenever one of your characters defends and you flip battle cards, you get +1 defense for each black pip you flip as well. So let's say, for example, I play this secret action on a defense flip and I flip a Designated Target. That means I'm going to get +2 defense because there are 2 black pips on that card. Basically, it turns all black pips on defense into blue pips, so it's especially nice there. And it doesn't even matter too much that there's a pip there for planes. Of course, we're not playing planes, so that's not going to matter in any situation. But it's nice because it already has a built-in black pip anyway. So very nice card, especially in a deck focusing on Pierce as heavy as this one. And we are also playing 3 copies of Hidden Fortification. Now, this isn't necessarily just for defense. It does give you tough 3, of course, and there are a decent amount of blues in this deck, so obviously you'll get the tough 3 and defend better. But it also is kind of just a mind game with your opponent, like, oh, is that secret action going to be a hidden fort or Concealing Contrails? Make them think twice about playing that grenade launcher on their character, because you might be able to defend it either way. But we are playing 3 of those just to kind of throw your opponent off just a little bit. as well as also 2 copies of Sabotage Armaments, since it lets you get rid of all the attacker's weapons when one of your characters defends. Especially nice getting rid of course, grenade launchers, even 6 guns, weapons. So yeah, those are our secret actions, and next is the upgrades. So as for weapons, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Fusion Bore. This is a black pip card that gives you +3 Pierce 3, and it gets scrapped after you attack. Especially nice, of course, for boosting the base attack of a character and then giving them the base 3. Of course, it's especially strong whenever you're trying to deal some damage with Dead End. But we're also playing 3 copies of Kinetic Intensifier Whip. Now this card is especially nice on Run Amok and Runabout, because every time they flip, they get bold 2 until the end of turn, as well as also giving a base 1 attack. So it's basically going to make you able to flip more black pips whenever you're attacking, getting that base 6 or 5 pierce every time you swing with one of them. This card's going to be especially good with these characters that are flipping basically every single turn. And the last weapon we're playing is 2 copies of Scoundrel's Blaster. If you need some guaranteed pierce, you can just pull this card to your hand and give you +2 pierce 2 against an Autobot. So really nice there since it is a green pip. It's good on Dead End if you can't get the Fusion Bore, as he's not going to be flipping as much with the Kinetic Intensifier Whip. So Scoundrel Blaster is a good base weapon for him to have. As for armors, we're only playing a few of them. 1 sparring gear and 2 copies of reinforced plating. They all give tough 2. The sparring gear is just you can pull it to your hand and get it down early on, and then you can draw into the reinforced platings with how much you're going to be drawing with Run Amok, as every time he flips to his bot mode you get to draw a card, so it's not that big of a deal not being able to draw into the reinforced platings, as you're going to be drawing a lot. And even if you do need to, you can also flip Dead End, draw a card in his bot mode, and you know, it all works out there. And the last card we're playing is 2 copies of the Enhanced Power Cell. This gives one of your characters +3 health, and it is a black pip utility. So we're going to be most likely playing those on Runabout and Run Amok. Now in the original version of this deck, I was playing two toolboxes instead of the power cells, but I found that the green pip made it a little bit inconsistent, so I wanted to add a little bit more pierce, and this is what I came up with. Since there wasn't anything else to take up the utility slots, giving them +3 health doesn't seem too bad, all in all. Yeah, and that's the deck type. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is a really fun deck. Being able to heal a ton as well as draw a ton is especially fun with these 2 characters, and the awesome gold foil art that you don't get to see too often on these guys is very, very nice. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and as always, have a phenomenal day. Peace.